We've hit the official start time, which means that anything that occurs now will be captured on, will be in the recordings posted to YouTube and to Cloudflare. We'll wait a little longer to start. The join rate is fairly high. If you're able and willing to share video, please do so. I'd like for this to be a around the table kind of discussion. So whoever added the agenda line, that's not our agenda, actually. That's the can keep it as a link, as a reference to a recent report. But today's agenda isn't to go through that, it's to talk about the roadmap. Well, Rich, thanks for joining. It looks like our join rate is pretty slow at this point, and I see the tools team members, Jay, Alexis, Karsten, and Rich. And I missed, Gene is here, of course, so have I missed anybody? I don't think I have. Now, with this set of people then, over the month of January, I did put pressure on the issues that were backing up the high level goals, epics, as we were trying to organize them under the roadmap. I'm not sure that doing so is helping that roadmap become more accessible as a tool for communicating to people that aren't following deeply along what our plans are, what our current activities are. I do still think that the top level organizational goals and the epics that are captured to meet those goals are speaking at the right level. And that's really what I was hoping to get more feedback today on, was whether or not those were saying the right kinds of things. If not, what other kinds of things should they be talking about? And if they are saying the right kinds of things, what explicit tasks are important and missing for the near-term roadmap? So while I was doing this, I attempted to move the conversation forward with some smaller focused conversations on tools discuss. Few of those attracted a lot of input, which was good. And I think that that path might actually be the best. At least it's been the most, it's yielded the most feedback so far, is to just start a discussion about a focused goal and let people ask questions about why we're doing that and what we think we're doing, and then start providing input. Does anybody think we should approach this differently? I'm really looking for input from people that aren't inside the tools team itself or the LLC. Russ, please go ahead.
So my experience is like yours. When you put too much information out there, it doesn't get read. I'll come back to that later when I have time or something. Whereas if you ask a smaller question, people will respond. And I think you're seeing the same thing. And, you know, I don't see any other way. If you want community feedback, that's the only way you're going to get it. The ISG has seen the same.
I'll agree. You know, for either too much information and people are overwhelmed, or they'll end up narrowing in on the one or two things they care about. If you're looking for like long-term directions, you know, you won't get good input. You'll get a few loud voices about specific things, which may not represent consensus anyway. So I think, you know, going with what you've gotten good feedback out seems the way to go.
So in that spirit, I'll throw a question out to this group that's small about structuring this work. There was a proposal, Ecker framed this, that we should consider approaching allocating resources to work along the lines of X% to the IEB, Y% to the IESG, some other percent to the working group chairs. This proposal does not resonate with me. I think that there's certainly some attention that needs to be paid to the source of requests for new features or changes, or please fix this alarming bug. And some bodies asking should cause a request to move around in priority. If NOMCOM needs something in order to finish their job, we should probably move to make NOMCOM able to finish their job. But the idea that there is a budget for IESG requests or IEB requests really doesn't I can't see how we could inform what that budget would be shaped like. Now go ahead, Rich, just jump in.
Yeah, okay, sure. All right. Yeah, it also brings up problems about, like, you know, how you allocate or how you debit which account for a particular request, right? If someone posts, oh, there's a bug in the way these drafts are processed or they go through the workflow, is that generic? And it also tends to make, not responsive to time critical things, which I think is, like you were talking about with the NOMCOM example, near and dear to my heart. So, you know, leave it to the team's best judgment, I would say. And if, you know, provide an escalation path where people can talk to you or to Jay or whoever if they think that something that's real important to a particular part of the organization is not getting enough attention.
I agree with Rich about the escalation path, and the other just becomes a keeping track of time cards problem.
So there was a second suggestion earlier again from Eric that we should be putting pressure across our applications from a how we want it to perform, rather than looking at goals like the data correctness or these current proposed goals in order to shape our work. That the activities would fall out of having a get everything responding within X many milliseconds kind of pressure. Again, I mean, he's not wrong. Things do need to be improved when they're really slow. That part is right, but I'm not seeing that using that as a high level goal would drive the right finding the right places to focus our efforts. So I kind of see that falling under the high level goal that we've called out, the organizational goal that we've called out about providing the level of performance that meets community expectations. Anybody have any input on that front, or do you think that we really should just really move a lot of resources over to focusing on really long running requests and getting those beaten down?
Go ahead,
Go,
Rich.
Russ. No, no, you go.
I mean, there are certain things that are frustrating that, especially when they time out. But mostly it seems to be working, and identifying the ones that are causing those frustration is going to be not easy.
We've actually got some tools in place that are helping us find them. We've got one in particular that we're working on right now that is one that we really do need to fix before we get to the next IETF meeting. I'll send out more details after we fix it. It's actually bad enough that it's a vulnerability for us. So,
well, that's bad. But the what I meant was you gathering the statistics of is it one person who is using this tool a lot in inconvenienced, or is it spreading pain across the whole community? You only know how many hits from how many IP addresses, right?
Right.
Okay.
So we do have information about we can tell the difference between a request from an authenticated user and a non-authenticated user. So that gives us a bit of a hint of some of what the traffic is human traffic. Now, there's a lot of unauthenticated traffic that is still human traffic. And then there's some subset of the automated traffic that are, real people trying to do real work. The research work driven by Colin Perkins' tool, for example, right? But there is an overwhelming amount of automated traffic that is either just content scraping or just pure nuisance traffic. So, John, you were in the queue briefly.
Yeah, making stuff fast for the sake of making it fast sounds to me like a poor goal. I mean, there's an old joke that where the punchline is, I can make it as fast as you want if I don't have to get the right answer. So, yeah, I think it seems to me that your approach is right. Like if there are specific bottlenecks that need to be fixed, we should put those on the list. But I think I think getting a large part of getting work done is getting the right answers. So I think that you need to balance it.
So I assume everybody here has had a chance to look at the high-level goals that we identified, and have hopefully spent some time brainstorming to see if there was one that was so obvious that we didn't write it down that everybody just assumes that we're doing that.
I mean, I read through them and didn't think of anything you missed particularly.
All right. So then if the shape of this is right, and if the high-level tasks that we've identified for those goals look like the right tasks and look reasonably complete, then our next step is to further refine timing. We are continuing to go full speed on the RPC modernization project, and that is consuming 5/9 of our resources. I'm going to redirect some of them for this next week or so to make the adjustments that we need to make for the IETF meeting. But then we'll be continuing to get the RPC website replacements, the workflow projects in place as quickly as we can. So, and that still leaves a lot of these other things in a waiting state. And that's part of what's been driving this conversation is that we have had the last quarter of the year, that waiting state was extremely apparent. So, but everyone here knows why. So,
Robert, can I ask, were you planning to talk about the various different tabs that we have in the roadmap and how useful they are?
I'm willing to do so.
Yeah, it'd be useful, particularly if we have the main users board and just to see what people think of this structure and how useful it is, which bit they find most useful.
So I'm going to attempt a Meet-A-Co share screen. Is that reasonably visible for people?
Kinda. I mean, we could read it. I could read it, but just a little. But that helps.
All right. So what we put together here are 4 views into a set of issues spread across several repositories, a core repository for the roadmap, and then the individual repositories for the applications that get linked back into this. We have if I click on the correct thing, a top level tab that basically looks at the issues that are labeled goals and captures what I was describing as these organizational goals. We would tie into these organizational goals projects. There's the progress on the projects would show in in this column. This tab showing the breakdown of the projects that we've identified for the goals has the high-level epic that we're aiming for, right? An initial estimate of roughly how big do we think this is? Is this something that's going to be a small, quick project? Is it going to be a massive project that takes a great deal of time? A priority column that we've not populated yet. We are hoping through calls like this one that we can start to get feedback on priority for this should go up, priority for that should go down, right? For the current, or just feedback in continuous feedback in email. There was a notion of trying to identify who the main user is, the label, the benefactor, who is this for? And there was some strong pressure in working this through with Jay towards keeping this focused on a single part of the community where we've identified these options as who this is for, right? And that if we end up with one of these where it's really for more than one of these groups, we really should consider splitting the task to focus on who the real benefactors are. That's going to take some actual exercise to see if it's going to be a helpful distinction. Then
Robert, sorry, can I just add to
go
that?
ahead.
Thank you. So I think we're all aware that every single one of these projects, someone can make a claim that it's for the benefit of the community. So if we're not careful, we would end up with every project, just being flagged as going to everybody. So that's why we're putting the discipline of just who the main user is. So we get some, just some tidiness and crispness around that, I think, in terms of how people understand where that's going. If we take, for example, some of the recent changes for working group chairs and adoption calls and that sort of stuff, that would be flagged as for the IESG, and that would be clear then that that's the IESG that has asked us to do that work in that sense, I think, even though it might be used by working group chairs potentially a bit more. It's complicated, but I think this way at least gives us some of what Eka was asking about, which was us moving towards having clarity around how resources are spread across some of the different groups a bit.
The rest of these are estimates, on start and complete quarter, and then automated tracking as sub-issues started to complete. The third tab is a Gantt chart looking thing. It's not really a full Gantt chart. It just shows the start and expected start and end quarters. It doesn't show relationships between projects. And then there is a by column card list of the projects by those main users in this tab. So I think part of what Jay's looking for is there any of that just really catches you as, oh, wow, that's great. Please do more of that. Does it spark any ideas for other things that we could put in that would be particularly useful? And if there's anybody that thinks that they would never go look at this thing, knowing that would be useful feedback as well.
I that last question sparked something. It's like, when would I go look? Is preparation for this call, and if something was annoying me, finding out whether it's already in your list.
Yeah, I would tend to look at, maybe like Russ said, review this just before the meeting. But I would tend to look at specific issues to see where they are. My
Your entry would be more at a application level, looking at the issues for, say, data tracker, finding an issue, and then seeing how it folds up into this.
Yeah, or even just to see what the status is, because you and the team are pretty good at commenting and updating on issues. But I think like the three of us here are anomalies in that we're well tuned in to what the tools team is doing.
Right.
Someone like Ecker is a smart casual participant, and maybe I'm not saying I always agree with them. I mean, my first take on this kind of thing is whatever makes the team most effective is fine with me. But as part of making the team effective, you do want to have transparency and make it easy for the community to understand what you're doing. So there's some kind of trade-off there. So I guess no opinion, but saying that I also don't think my opinion is particularly worthwhile, because I'm not a typical casual user of that kind of information.
Karsten points out that my microphone is apparently not the one that it should be. I guess you're getting taps here instead of that. Sorry for that. We'll move forward if people are able to hear me. I'll try to quit making tactical noise. All right. Jay, I'm not. We could try to take a dive into starting to set priorities, see if we can get feedback on priorities on some of these individual issues as part of this call. But I think it would be better if we did that on list, where we had more people providing input.
Yeah, I think it would be better to complete the process of going through, introducing each of these things to the list and having the discussion about them, so that by the time we get to the priorities, people have been through a discussion about all of them and understand some of the nuances, and can therefore be more informed when it comes to setting the priorities for them.
Is there anything else that you would like for us to go through today?
Not from me. Thank you.
Anyone else on the call have something that think we should spend some time on while we're together?
I do know that the IPMC thing has a real deadline. Is it happening? I saw it was on your list. I couldn't tell that whether they are happy.
We have all of the mechanical pieces figured out.
Okay.
They've got a new website ready to go. We have the changes that need to be made to the boilerplate generation XML to RFC ready to go, but not deployed. We can patch IDNITS 2. IDNITS 3 will deal with the new boilerplate automatically, but we are still waiting for the actual go message.
Yeah. Okay. You're ready. They're not.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, in one of my other roles, I got sucked into this thing, and we're finally past that pole in the tent. Not being the delay, but they need a couple signatures.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't going to be a stall when that did finally get approved. Cool.
Well, if no one else has anything, thanks everyone for contributing your time, and we'll see you on list.
Thanks for all you do.
Yeah. Thanks very much. Take care.